Yeah, good morning, everyone. My name is Annika Styczynski. I am an assistant professor and assistant dean for research and international collaborations at Jindal Global University. We are 60 kilometers north of Delhi. You might have heard of us. We're only 7 years old, though. We have 2,800 students, still very small, but gonna grow for sure. 2,800 students, 220 professors, 25% of which with international background, like myself, and 5 different schools: the law school, international affairs, the business school, the Jindal School of Government and Public Policy, and liberal arts and humanities. Shortly maybe about myself. I'm with Government and Public Policy, as you can see here, for now 1 year. And my background is in the governance, my expertise, my professional background is in the governance of socio-technical transitions. I'm a German national, which you don't see when you look at my name, but I was born, raised, socialized, educated in Germany. But also in 2008 I was studying in California, and you will probably recall the oil price hike back then. And that kind of caught my attention, and I started to look more into environment and energy. And when I came back to Germany, I just thought, what could be more exciting and interesting than studying the energy transition? But at the institute that I then approached, the Environmental Policy Research Center at Free University Berlin, I realized a lot of people are actually studying the energy transition. So I thought, let me write my dissertation on the mobility transition, and that was electric vehicles. I don't want to go too much into that for now, but being now in India, we're interested in finding, I mean, me and, for example, GIZ and other Germans are interested in finding partners who are interested in the energy transition. And yeah, the key basically for us is we won't tell you what to do. Like, you are in the driving seat, you have to steer the wheel, and you have to know where you want to go. But we can definitely help you through education, through research, to answer questions in a way that you find appropriate. So as part of this, what we call a societal search process, research and education are kind of central drivers to this transformation, because no one fits all, right? So the German model might not be suitable for India, obviously. So what I want to talk about today is the foundations of research and education for the governance of socio-technical transitions. And we know that it's important to have a dialogue for a better understanding of the challenges that both the fossil industry is facing, as well as the newcomers, the new industries, the renewables. So for us, we think that there's a need for agents of change, and these agents of change are characterized by a number of characteristics. And that basically means so I'm preparing my students to understand and handle complexities, to create awareness, to promote systemic and anticipatory thinking, to think critically, and to act in a fair, collaborative, and creative manner, to the end that we empower people to participate and to shape the transformation process. Because society's participation in developing research issues, in the research process itself, and in the debate about the findings are obviously key factors determining the success of the transformation process. So the German Advisory Council on Global Change would even call it a global citizen movement that's needed at the moment. I'm sure you've heard of Vikram Mehta, someone I'm following recently more closely. He's the chairman of Brookings India, and he recently came out with a paper asking that, or he actually believes that 2016 was the year of inflection for the oil industry. And in his article, he kind of compares the financial crisis to the crisis of the energy sector today. And for him, the major problem is collective impact of all individual inadequacies. So for us it is important to understand the individual inadequacy and how they multiply and sum up to maybe something that will turn into a crisis. So that's why we also need people in the social science to study transformation processes in general, and I would say the energy transition and the mobility transition in particular. For example, if you only look at the precautionary principle of 1992, which says that where threats of serious or irreversible damage occur, lack of full scientific certainty shall not be used as a reason for postponing cost-effective measures to prevent environmental degradation. And all of you, I'm sure, have heard of the Paris Agreement and its stipulation of 2 Celsius temperature decrease limitations, or if possible, even 1.5 degrees. And as a consequence of that, according to Carbon Tracker, which is a London-based NGO, this would actually necessitate to conserve 80% of the currently remaining fossil fuels. 80%. And even more if bound for a 1.5 degree target. So we're living in the times of the 4th Industrial Revolution, and now it seems that carbon law is taking over. And we're moving to a global energy transition, to a clean energy agenda. And believe me, I know what I'm talking about. I mean, in the sense of what are the disruptions. I'm from the Berlin area. We have the Lower Silesia region coal industry very close by. You will have heard of the VW scam, which also happened for a good reason. But at the same time, I know that we want to achieve our goal of decarbonizing our society by 95% until 2050 on the basis of 1990. And it's absolutely inconceivable to achieve that without phasing out coal. And that's what we're currently planning. It already began in mid-2016, no, mid-2015, and it's going to start officially in 2018. So it is happening, I can guarantee you. And I totally agree with Mr. Mehta that it has become imperative that we now look at energy through an integrated policy prism, and to contemplate every decision within the bounds of such a frame. For example, we know that the energy transition to a power system dominated by renewables needs a lot of storage. And we know that the mobility transition to electric vehicles provides a fleet of batteries on wheels, which can be expected to lie idle most of the time, as we know from studies on car user behavior. So let me ask, wouldn't it be worthwhile doing research on the interconnection of both transitions, and to examine the potential and limitations of traction batteries as a mobility and grid service provider? Also, there has been a recent TERI study that said that India is now entering a 10-year window, which will make it unnecessary for coal additions. And let me end by maybe challenging you a little bit. We're currently looking at the G20 coming up in Hamburg and then COP23 in Bonn later this year. But as far as I know, COP22 in November 2018 is the place for that, the venue for that is still to be determined. And I think the signs are looking good, so why not having this COP24 in India? I think there's quite something happening in the country that it's worthwhile showing to the world. Okay, thank you for your attention.